Trump reportedly ready to switch gears after softening support in the latest round of presidential polls. Trump, who still maintains his frontrunner status, will be including his wife, Melania, and daughter, Ivanka, on more events on the campaign trail. He will also begin an aggressive TV ad campaign and will release a book on policy titled Crippled America. Joining me right now are Tea Party Patriots CEO and co-founder Jenny Beth Martin and Daily Beast senior editor Jackie Kucinich. Good to see you both. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, first off, Jackie, your thoughts on this new strategy from Donald Trump?
You know, I feel like we've gone through a process in the media where we're finally getting to the point where, you know, Donald Trump is actually a candidate. He is someone that is actually running for president, and he's finally getting to the point where he's rolling out his family. He is putting out these policy papers. But I will say it is striking to see the sort of negativity crippling America. It's something that it's not a positive message that he's putting out there, and so we'll see how the public reacts to that.
Jenny, who does the Tea Party want to be president?
Well, we're looking at all the candidates. Donald Trump certainly has been talking a lot about the issues that we care about at Tea Party Patriots, and we'll see where we wind up with our super PAC. We're going to be going through an endorsement process in the next few weeks. But right now with Donald Trump, I think it'll be very interesting to see what happens when he rolls out his wife and his daughter. People already are aware of Ivanka, and she has a bit of her own personality. So it'll be interesting to watch how this unfolds as he brings in new media and reality TV into campaigning and really shakes things up and disrupts the system.
Michael?
Yeah, Jenny, based on what you've seen so far, what candidates have raised issues that have gotten your attention that make them interesting? What's been said in the debate so far that is going to be a hot button for you?
Well, obviously at Tea Party Patriots, we care a lot about Obamacare. We want to learn more from the candidates about what they intend to do to repeal Obamacare, to get rid of the congressional exemption from Obamacare, and to bring about more health care freedom. And as we're looking at the next Republican debate in a few weeks, we want to see how they're going to get us to a debt-free future and have a balanced budget for the federal government that'll balance within 5 years.
No, I'm glad you mentioned that, because some of these tax plans are costing $18 trillion if you look at Bernie Sanders, or $12 trillion if you look at Donald Trump. So if you're concerned about spending, we really need to start scrutinizing some of these tax plans, Jackie.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I think the scoring and, I mean, some of the other proposals Donald Trump has put forward has looked like it's going to cost a lot of money. So the devil is in the details when you get down to these tax plans and when you get down to these actual concrete proposals. And, we'll see what voters are willing to give and take, because there is something about, you like a candidate and you do sort of have to accept them with all wrinkles and all, and there's not going to be someone that's 100% okay with everyone.
Yeah. Let me ask you, Jenny, about the Tea Party's feeling about this most recent comment from Kevin McCarthy. And of course, today is the vote on who will exceed John Boehner and take that seat. What's your take and the Tea Party's take on what Kevin McCarthy said recently about the Benghazi committee?
Sure. At Tea Party Patriots, we think that we do not want to see Kevin McCarthy become the next Speaker of the House. When you look at what he said about the Benghazi hearings, we risk the fact that he may have undone several years' worth of real investigative work. And these committees in the hearings about Benghazi, they weren't for political purposes. They're to bring real accountability, because we had American lives that were lost on the anniversary of 9/11 in Benghazi. So we'll see what happens today as the Republicans go into their conference meeting. We know for certain that the House conservatives have enough votes to block Kevin McCarthy from becoming Speaker. So it's really up to the establishment to understand that these guys are going to stand firm, and McCarthy is not going to be the next Speaker of the House.
Wow. Okay. Well, we'll be watching that. We're going to know, actually, by the end of today, likely. Look, the spending cuts, the debt limit becoming major issues on the campaign trail. Republican candidate Ben Carson weighs in on both topics with Stuart Varney today. Listen to this.
We have 645 government agencies and sub-agencies, each of which has a budget, in many cases a very substantial budget. I personally believe that you can cut 3 or 4% of fat out of each one of those budgets. Anybody who tells me you can't like Nancy Pelosi, you can't reduce by 1 penny or it will be a complete disaster because we are 100% efficient. What a bunch of crap.
Jackie, what's your take on that?
You know, I want to hear I'm curious to hear what these presidential contenders, how they're going to work with Congress. Because you can talk all day about wanting to cut the budget and wanting to do all of these, wanting to do all these things. But if you can't work with Congress, if you can't get some of these people on your side to push it through, there's nothing you can do. You end up like President Obama, and you end up like the current Congress, which hasn't passed a budget in I don't know how long.
You're absolutely right. This has been the most divisive government that, they can't even talk to each other anymore. And as a result, they're just trying to one-up one another, Michael.
Well, Jackie, does the American public care about that? They should care about that.
You think, but no, I mean, not at this stage of the game, I think, but they are upset about dysfunction in Washington. But in the Republican primary, talking about compromise and talking about working with the other side and talking about working with people isn't really something that plays very well.
That's what I'm having trouble reconciling here. They care about this dysfunction in Washington, yet who's in the lead? You have the guy who was just on with Stu mocking Nancy Pelosi. However you feel about Nancy Pelosi, that was kind of divisive. Then you have the guy up front who is putting a book out called Crippled America.
Right.
Okay, so they're raising these issues that are very salient and appeal to a lot of people, but it's very divisive here.
Jenny, what do you say about that?
Well, I think that the problem is that we are, across America, we're looking for people who will lead, who will stop doing things the way that Washington has always been done. When you look at what just has happened in the last couple of weeks with Speaker Boehner, it's the first time in history we've had a Speaker of the House who has resigned, not because of illness, not because of scandal, but because the people within his conference are saying he can no longer be the Speaker.
Yep.
And right now, the way things are working in Washington, it doesn't work. We know that. We want things to be done differently. It can't continue to be the same thing that we've seen for the last several decades, for my entire life. That's got us nearly $20 trillion in debt.
All right, we will leave it there. Jackie, Jenny, good to see you. Thank you so much for joining us, ladies.